Look, you know you can reach me on social media. You know I have the radio show on Channel 124 of Sirius. I mean it when I say, give me a reason. Help me understand why the president would say that Black Lives Matter is a symbol of hate. Why? Why would he say that right now about a mural that the New York mayor plans to have painted? Is it because it's outside Trump Tower and he sees that as an attack, so he has to attack it back? But when this is happening in this country right now, what good reason? How can that help anything? His press secretary says later on, Trump was talking about the organization, not the people. The problem is the organization is the people. Angela Rye joins me now. I'm not going to ask you to give me a good reason that he would say it, but the idea of calling it that at this time, if anyone has any interest in this movement, is there anything else they need to know about this president in measuring what he thinks of the cause?
Well, I first just want to take a moment to address a former colleague in Kayleigh McEnany and just invite her into what it means to tell the truth. And what the truth is that she clearly doesn't know much about the Black Lives Matter Global Network. She clearly has never met the founders, who are friends of mine, Opal and Patrice and Alicia. She clearly does not understand that Black lives have not mattered to this country since its foundation. She clearly does not understand that the framers in the organizing documents did not even deem Black people as 5/5 fully human. She clearly does not understand the number of people who were lynched in this country, even during the Reconstruction era. I would invite Kayleigh and Donald Trump to visit an Equal Justice Initiative museum stood up, the Legacy Museum by Brian Stevenson, to just learn history. And Chris, what I'm trying to do is just ground myself in the truth about a history that I was blessed to learn from my parents. When my history books would not teach it to me, I was blessed to learn. And clearly, I have to believe these people just don't know any better, because I gotta believe that they would not put in direct harm's way people who are friends of mine, who are simply out here fighting to defund the police, to ensure that communities of color are reinvested in and police forces are divested from. I gotta believe that these people are not just willingly this ignorant to put people who are trying to ensure that Black lives matter, that Black policy matters, and that what is in our best interest to survive and to find equitable outcomes in this country. I gotta believe that they're not doing this maliciously. And if that means that they just have to take a moment to learn, then I invite them to take the next 24 hours, and maybe even through this weekend, to look at what it would take for us to really gain independence. Frederick Douglass said about Independence Day in this country, what to the slave is the 4th of July. And I would invite them to even start there as a reading principle, to see how different we see this country and why the rhetoric that they use is so very dangerous. So while he refuses to call people who support the Confederacy domestic terrorists, the people who support Confederacy as traitors to this country, but instead is willing to target my friends, I would invite him to learn and then to apologize for what he's done and then to walk back that very toxic rhetoric at a time like this.
Well, as they say, bless your heart, Angela Rye, because you are going to have to steel
Please
yourself.
Bless it, because I'm trying.
You're going to have to steel yourself for some significant disappointment. We both know what Kayleigh McEnany is doing. She is playing to advantage. This is someone who, during Trump, as a candidate, said she didn't want to own him. He didn't represent anything about the Republican Party. She had all these problems with him as a human being. She then came on my show when she started to get a paycheck from the organization and said, he has never lied to the American people. This is the ugliness of politics. Black Lives Matter represents an inimical force to this president's reelection. That's how it's perceived. True or not. That means it's got to go. And that's how they'll treat it.
That's a problem. That's a problem because Black Lives Matter as an organization, as an affirmation, which is really what it is not something that we can afford to compromise.
Filled with looters. Looters and criminals and bullies and thugs running around beating up police, destroying their own communities like that Antifa.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And that all of that is a lie. All of that is a lie, and it is the very thing that would threaten someone like Manuel Ellis in Tacoma, Washington, who again was another Black man who said, "I can't breathe." That type of mentality is the thing that would cost Breonna Taylor her life. That type of mentality is what would cost Elijah McClain his life. I cannot continue to just name the thousands of people who have been targeted by police officers just since 2013 because of their appearance, because Black lives have not mattered in the mentality and the psyche of so many, not just those who wear the badge. We can go to the vigilantes that killed Trayvon Martin or Ahmaud Arbery. It is a deep-rooted problem in this country. It must be addressed, and Black Lives Matter should not be a partisan debate or an argument. It should be an affirmation embraced by everyone on the soil of this land and everywhere else all over the planet. That is just what it should be. And as long as we continue to engage in a political divisive debate about this, we're going to have a problem, because Black lives do matter. And I am requiring that anyone that wants to serve us, whether on a corporate level, in a nonprofit organization, or at a government, federal, state, or local, they have to acknowledge that Black lives must matter in this
Right,
country.
they're just adding a B. It's a BLM B. Black Lives Matter, but you guys have to comply with the police. And if you don't, then whatever happens is okay. Black Lives Matter, but somehow the police are being victimized by this movement. They matter, but you guys get too many breaks as it is, and reparations is crazy. It matters, but can't forget about the Confederacy. That's important to a lot of people. It matters, but, you know, you guys, we've done a lot for you. It's time for you to stop complaining. That's what he's catering to. The guy puts out a video that someone says white power in response to people saying Trump is bad. He puts it out and then he deletes it. McEnany says the deletion is a strong move. No, it was a cover his ass for putting something out there that shows what he wants to cultivate in this country as a demagogue. How do you deal with that?
Well, and I think the way that we deal with it, Chris, is by dismantling all of that, that lack of logic, dismantling all of the ignorance. And that's why I started with, let me just teach like y'all don't know, because clearly you don't, right? If you can still make an argument about why Army bases should be named after Confederate soldiers, which he's doing, because you think it appeals to a base, shame on you. Leadership should tell you that sometimes you have to educate ignorance out of people. I hope that this is out of ignorance and not malintent. I'm not confident that that is what it is, but I'm choosing to engage in that this way, Chris, because if I don't, I come on here shaking, and when I'm done with the segment, I cry. Like, I can't imagine a world where in 2020, my godson, just turned 10. My best friend is celebrating her 40th birthday today. I can't imagine we're living in a world when people see these COVID numbers and the disproportionate impact on Black people. I can't imagine a world where we're talking about what Black people, we've given you handouts. No, the hell you didn't. We gave you the handout. We built the entire country for free. That's a hell of a handout. You talking about reparations? People who you stole from their native land came here to build an entire economy, building systems and institutions for you with no compensation. That they better not ever say another thing to me about a handout. And all we're talking about right now is just the ability to live. When you talk about the Declaration of Independence and it says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right now we're just still at life. Maybe we'll get to liberty and pursuit of happiness soon, but first you have to see me as your equal. First you have to see me as 5/5 and not just something that you can count to ensure proportional representation for slave masters. That's where we have to get. Chris, myself, just the other day, I was talking to my dad, who you blocked on Instagram. And
I did not. I only said that. I did not do that. I love him. I love the picture.
But I was talking to him. I was talking to him the other day, and I said something about a slave. And my dad corrected me like he does. And he said, no, Angela, enslaved person. Stop taking the humanity away from people. And so it's just those things like that. It was a nudge. My friends who, when I was talking about defund the police and I was putting out everything, we'll take the body cameras, the dash cam, we'll take all the changes, right? And my friend Alicia Garza, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, one of the co-creators, she said, Angela, you can't start that small. We have to be having a bigger conversation in this moment. Our survival depends on it. And she's right, Chris. We have to, for a minute, imagine a world, as my friend Latasha Brown from Black Voters Matter said, imagine an America without racism. And the mere thought of that, Chris, brings tears to my eyes because it feels so far out of reach. We have to make that a more tangible thing for us, for our kids, for future generations in this country. We're not going to get better until we can begin to imagine a different reality. And we're so like, well, we can't do that because that may cause votes here. We have to do what's in the best interest of the totality of the American, of all of America.
No question about it. But look, where's the hope? The hope is you and I have trafficked through a few bad cases over the last few years. We've never had conversations like this as long as we've had them now. So we take progress where we find it, but we don't stop there. I listened to Michael Che the other night, part of his comedy, recent comedy sketch he did, and he said, we're just saying Black lives matter. We just want to matter. We don't want to matter more than you. We don't want to, it's like the lowest standard that we should be able to exist in a country that doesn't seem to seek our extinguishment. And it made me sad. I know he's being funny and it was ironic, but that's where we are. But this conversation is proof. We would have never had it a year ago. And I told you the last time I had you on, I won't stop having the conversations. I had Chuck D last night. We got to come at it from different angles. We got to keep going long after they're out of the streets.
Chuck D? You dropping Chuck D's name now?
All over the place. Chris. All over the place. I've been saying it all day.
I want to commend you because I've been watching you have the conversations. I've been watching you issue the challenges. I am proud to say you're my friend, and I'm proud to see you honor that promise. Know that this is the type of content and the type of conversation that saves lives. So I am proud of you, friend.
Thank you for helping me understand and do the job the right way. Angela Rye, God bless. Best to your father.
God bless you. I'm going to tell him that you didn't block him this time.
Thank you. All right. COVID isn't the only, I didn't block him. I'm telling you that right now. That what she just said wasn't true.